Hey there again, and welcome to the World Harmony Project's A Course in Miracles and Practice, where we, your fellow travelers, explore A Course in Miracles, one lesson, one moment, and one miracle at a time.
Whether you're brand new to the course or coming back for a deeper look, this space is for you. No pressure, no perfection, just presence, peace, and practice.
If something in today's experience speaks to you, or you have a question, a reflection, or just want to say hi, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
And if you're on TikTok or YouTube, come follow us over there too. Our handle is @theworldharmonyproject. We're building a community of hearts that are healing together, and you are a part of that.
All right, let's take a breath, let the world slow down for just a moment, and step into today's lesson together. As usual, let's begin by reading today's lesson. Lesson 183, I call upon God's name and on my own. God's name is holy, but no holier than yours. To call upon his name is but to call upon your own. A father gives his son his name and thus identifies the son with him. His brothers share his name and thus are they united in a bond to which they turn for their identity. Your father's name reminds you who you are, even within a world that does not know, even though you have not remembered it. God's name cannot be heard without response, nor said without an echo in the mind that calls you to remember. Say his name, and you invite the angels to surround the ground on which you stand, and sing to you as they spread out their wings to keep you safe, and shelter you from every worldly thought that would intrude upon your holiness. Repeat God's name, and all the world responds by laying down illusions. Every dream the world holds dear has suddenly gone by, and where it seemed to stand you find a star, a miracle of grace. The sick arise, healed of their sickly thoughts. The blind can see, the deaf can hear. The sorrowful cast off their mourning, and the tears of pain are dried as happy laughter comes to bless the world. Repeat the name of God, and little names have lost their meaning. No temptation but becomes a nameless and unwanted thing before God's name. Repeat his name, and see how easily you will forget the names of all the gods you valued. They have lost the name of God you gave them. They become anonymous and valueless to you, although before you let the name of God replace their little names, you stood before them worshipfully, naming them as gods. Repeat the name of God and call upon yourself whose name is his. Repeat his name, and all the tiny nameless things on earth slip into right perspective. Those who call upon the name of God cannot mistake the nameless for the name, nor sin for grace, nor bodies for the Holy Son of God. And should you join a brother as you sit with him in silence and repeat God's name along with him within your quiet mind, you have established there an altar which reaches to God himself and to his Son. Practice but this today. Repeat God's name slowly again and still again. Become oblivious to every name but his. Hear nothing else. Let all your thoughts become anchored on this. No other word we use except at the beginning when we say today's idea but once. And then God's name becomes our only thought, our only word, the only thing that occupies our minds, the only wish we have, the only sound with any meaning, and the only name of everything that we desire to see, of everything that we would call our own. Thus do we give an invitation which can never be refused, and God will come and answer it himself. Think not, he hears the little prayers of those who call on him with names of idols cherished by the world. They cannot reach him thus. He cannot hear requests that he be not himself, or that his son receive another name than his. Repeat God's name, and you acknowledge him as sole creator of reality. And you acknowledge also that his Son is part of him, creating in his name. Sit silently and let his name become the all-encompassing idea that holds your mind completely. Let all thoughts be still except this one. And to all other thoughts respond with this, and see God's name replace the 1,000 little names you gave your thoughts, not realizing that there is one name for all there is and all that there will be. Today you can achieve a state in which you will experience the gift of grace. You can escape all bondage of the world and give the world the same release you found. You can remember what the world forgot and offer it your own remembering. You can accept today the part you play in its salvation and your own as well. And both can be accomplished perfectly. Turn to the name of God for your release, and it is given you. No prayer but this is necessary, for it holds them all within it. Words are insignificant, and all requests unneeded when God's Son calls on his Father's name. His Father's thoughts become his own. He makes his claim to all his Father gave, is giving still, and will forever give. He calls on him to let all things he thought he made be nameless now, and in their place the holy name of God becomes his judgment of their worthlessness. All little things are silent. Little sounds are soundless now. The little things of earth have disappeared. The universe consists of nothing but the Son of God who calls upon his Father. And his Father's voice gives answer in his Father's holy name. In this eternal, still relationship in which communication far transcends all words and yet exceeds in depth and height whatever words could possibly convey, is peace eternal. In our Father's name we would experience this peace today. and in his name it shall be given us. Those words resonate deeply, especially that opening line, I call upon God's name and on my own. It's just one of those statements that can feel incredibly powerful the first time you read it.
Absolutely. Goosebumps, like you said.
Right. But what does it truly signify, to share God's name? That's really the heart of what we want to explore today, I think.
Yeah, and I think for many people, phrases like God's name is your name might initially trigger a feeling of being maybe unqualified. Like, how can I possibly share the name of God?
Exactly. That feeling comes up.
But you see, the Course offers profound clarity here. God's name isn't some distant, untouchable word out there. It represents our very identity, our essence.
This lesson truly spells it out, doesn't it? To call upon his name is but to call upon your own. It just makes it so clear we are not separate from God, we are of God.
Yeah.
I mean, think of a child receiving their parents' last name. That name is inherent. It's a birthright, not something you have to earn or achieve. It's just yours.
That's a great analogy. And when the Course speaks of names, it's pointing beyond our everyday labels, the ones on, say, a driver's license or a job title.
Right.
It speaks of what lies underneath all those appearances. Your true self, the aspect of you that's untouched by the ego, untouched by that part of your mind believing in separation and fear, or really any worldly influence.
So when we call on God's name, we're actively inviting that original state back into our awareness. It's the awareness we had before we perceived any separation, before we bought into ideas of guilt or feeling broken. It's a remembrance, a powerful one.
And that remembrance holds immense significance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because most of us, we carry countless other names given to us by the ego roles, labels, identities we sort of adopt.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe the fixer or the anxious one or the failure, maybe the people pleaser, you know the ones. These names can feel so incredibly real, so ingrained.
Until
the true name is remembered.
the lesson states it so plainly. Repeat the name of God, and little names have lost their meaning. That realization, it can be incredibly liberating.
It really can.
Sometimes we don't even recognize how much energy we pour into trying to live up to those other names, right? Understanding we can release them and embrace the one true name feels like this deep exhale, a shedding of burdens.
It feels like that.
Yeah.
It's both impactful and profoundly simple at the same time. There's no complex formula needed. The practice given is just really straightforward. Repeat God's name slowly again and still again. Become oblivious to every name but his. It's a process of kind of spiritual uncluttering, a gentle release of what just doesn't serve you anymore.
And the practice itself, it's not about speaking the word God with perfect pronunciation or doing it inside some special ritual. It's much more about sinking into the meaning of that name.
Precisely.
The lesson explains that the name of God includes everything, right? Peace, safety, love, innocence. So engaging with his name means remembering what is truly real, not just about God, but about ourselves.
And this remembrance naturally extends to our connection with one another, too. There's that deeply moving passage in the lesson describing sitting in silence with a brother, repeating God's name together.
Yes, that part is beautiful.
And in that shared quietness, creating an altar that reaches all the way to heaven.
That imagery just resonates so strongly. We often connect with others through talking, right? Or trying to solve problems or explaining things. This approach, though, offers something totally different. A shared stillness. It's a space where we're not striving to be anything or trying to fix anything for someone else. We're simply remembering the one name we all share, quietly, together.
And that approach really embodies what true healing means in the Course. Not just alleviating symptoms on the surface, but remembering the underlying truth of who we are.
Right.
The lesson mentions the sick arise, healed of their sickly thoughts. The blind can see, the deaf can hear. This isn't magic talk. It describes the profound shift that happens as illusions just gently fall away.
And those phrases, they really point to a perceptual shift, don't they? When the lesson speaks of the sick arising, it feels like freedom from the belief in separation, which the Course identifies as the root of all suffering.
Exactly, the core illusion.
And the blind can see, perceiving love and innocence instead of constantly seeing fear and judgment everywhere.
Yes, seeing with Christ's vision.
The deaf can hear, then points to a willingness, maybe for the first time, to listen to the voice for God, that inner guidance towards unity and truth instead of just the ego's noise.
that inner readiness.
And finally, the sorrowful cast off their mourning signifies the undoing of the belief in loss itself, allowing joy to naturally replace it, because in truth, nothing real was ever lost.
The emphasis always is on that internal transformation of perception. God's name is our name. This isn't just, a nice poetic idea. It's presented as reality.
It is reality.
And we can call upon it in any moment, regardless of our circumstance. No big formal ceremony needed, just a quiet willingness.
Which brings us to some common feelings, or maybe questions that might pop up for people listening. I know for myself, at some point, I definitely felt a kind of almost arrogance about the very idea of sharing God's name.
That's a really common reaction.
Yeah, it's a common experience, and it leads to important questions. Understanding God's name is so central to this practice, but it can be easy to misinterpret. Let's maybe touch on some of those common questions.
Good idea. One frequent question that comes up is, does God's name imply saying a specific holy word out loud? Like, do I have to say God?
Right. Is there a magic word?
Exactly. And the Course clarifies that this is not really about language or pronunciation or finding the perfect sacred syllable. When the Course references God's name, it's speaking of identity.
Identity.
It refers to who God is and therefore who we are, since we are created in that very same reality. It's about the essence, the beingness.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there's that other concern. Doesn't it sound kind of arrogant to declare I share God's name? This statement can indeed feel quite bold.
It can feel that way initially, yes.
And I admit I've felt that twinge myself.
But the Course actually flips this. It suggests that denying your inherent holiness, denying that connection, that's where the real arrogance or perhaps misunderstanding lies.
Recognizing you share God's name isn't about puffing yourself up or elevating yourself above others.
Not at all. It means acknowledging your inseparable connection with Him, with the Source. It's recognizing your true place, which is alongside everything and everyone else within that oneness.
That's a crucial distinction. We're often taught that humility means playing small or, diminishing ourselves.
Right, making ourselves less than.
Okay, another idea that sometimes comes up is if you sit and repeat God's name and you don't have some dramatic spiritual moment, you just feel normal.
That's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
It's important to know that something profound is still happening, even if it doesn't feel like fireworks.
Right, it doesn't have to be spectacular.
No. This practice involves deep internal work. The shifts often unfold beneath the surface, quietly, without needing fanfare or immediate outward signs. Trust the process.
That's reassuring. As we kind of wrap up our exploration today, it feels like Lesson 183 offers this significant recalibration of our awareness.
That's a good way to put it, recalibration.
It gently but firmly guides us away from all those countless little names we've assigned to ourselves in the world, directing us instead to the one unifying name that truly defines us all.
And this simple yet deeply impactful act of calling upon God's name really serves as a return home. It's a remembering of the wholeness and peace that is inherently ours.
A peace we share with all of creation.
Exactly. This journey isn't about acquiring anything new, but rather it's about a gentle release, allowing the truth of our being to just surface effortlessly.
So maybe today, instead of trying so hard to fix all the perceived little things in your life, you might choose to just sit still for a few minutes. Just repeat the name of God silently, gently, without any pressure. Simply allow that idea, that feeling to wash through your mind.
And if a stressful thought pops up during the day, maybe try using the name as an anchor. The lesson gives that powerful instruction. Let all thoughts be still, except this one.
Which sounds hard.
It really is doable, not because we force it with willpower, but because our desire for peace starts to become stronger than our habitual attachment to those familiar stories of distress.
That makes sense. The desire for peace grows. And for any of you listening who might be feeling undeserving somehow of calling on God's name, please remember this lesson is specifically for you.
Yes.
You already share His name. You simply forgot. And the act of remembering it, even for just a few seconds, can start to change everything.
And we're all part of this healing journey, aren't we? That's the whole reason we share these lessons, to remember together, to practice together. So if this lesson brought up questions or resistance for you, know that you're not alone. That's actually part of the process.
We are grateful you are here with us, and we hope today's conversation helped bring a little more clarity and a little more peace to your practice. We'll be back tomorrow with Lesson 184.